Something much bigger in the news. Nigeria State Oil Corporation, or the NNPC, on Thursday signed a deal with SIPCO, an indigenous oil and gas company, towards gas monetization and development. The NNPC SIPCO Thursday event comes as the Global Summit on Climate Action and Investment gets underway. Omono Okonkwo is a natural gas analyst and a journalist, and she joins me now from our Abuja studios. Good evening, Omono. Welcome to the show.
Good evening, Bosin. Thank you.
It's good to see you again on the show. Thank you very much. Drill down into the new gas development deal signed between the NNPC and SIPCO. What is the need for NNPC on one hand and SIPCO on the other hand?
Okay, for NNPC, for NNPC, the gas deal is going to definitely provide revenue for the government, which is a good thing, and also reducing gas flaring, as the government has always wanted to reduce gas flaring. You know, the NGFCP was established several years ago, and still we've not been able to properly outline that plan. But this gas deal is definitely going to reduce gas flaring in the country, and that's a great thing. And for SIPCO, venturing into non-associated gas production is, for me, is a great way to diversify from just the portfolio for crude oil production. So for SIPCO, it's, aside from revenue, is also going to put them on the same page with several companies that are diversifying from just crude oil production to gas, as well as other clean energy sources. So that's it for both parties.
Is this good news overall, Omono? The last time you were on the show with me, you spoke about why we need to do beyond associated gas.
Yes. So this deal is focusing more on non-associated gas. Like, you know, associated gas is the kind of gas you find when you're drilling for crude oil. So non-associated gas production is even going to put us on the right path, as we are already in the era of a decade of gas. So we shouldn't just focus on gas gotten from only crude oil exploration. We should focus on just exploring for gas, for natural gas.
Who are the main players in this natural gas world, of course, which you reported on a daily basis? So what does this deal mean for the domestic or indigenous hydrocarbon players in Nigeria? This is an indigenous company. That looks like we're putting our monies home in the country.
Yes, it's a way to tell other hydrocarbon players in the country, domestic companies, tell them, oh, yes, this is the decade of gas and we are open to collaborating with you. You know, it goes beyond just focusing on foreign investments. We have a lot of local players here that are ready to diversify into gas, just as the government is diversifying Nigeria's economy from crude oil to natural gas. So they're basically telling the other players, like, okay, hey, you can come in and collaborate with us, because this decade of gas initiative, it doesn't work without local investors. And it's great because you already know NCDMB is doing a lot to promote local content. So it's not just about promoting local jobs, it's also about promoting local collaboration. You know, it doesn't work without domestic players. Like, let me give an example, like the Ghana Tema LNG project. I attended a webinar the other day, and the parties involved were saying, okay, we are focusing mainly on African financing. Now, that's a great thing. If we have more participation within the continent, within the region, or within the country, I think it will get more people on board. We have more jobs, we have more information, you know, than just saying, oh, well, we only want foreign players. So this is a great way to tell other players in the sector, okay, we are ready to collaborate with domestic companies. And I think it's great.
Yes, I think this is good news. I'm sure all of you in the oil and gas reporting arena will be digesting and pouring over. Nigeria need more of news such as this. But that's then if we move again into gas, which is a form of clean energy. And now we're talking about the 8th day, the President Biden's climate action. We're focusing on zero carbon, climate change, clean energy. What's your contribution to this issue, Omono?
Well, for me, I think it goes beyond conferences. It's more of commitment to environmental sustainability. And it's also, for me, it's also about putting a lot of energy into finding out how we can sustain our environment, how we can achieve clean energy goals, not just by investing in renewable energy sources. It's also by saying, okay, we want to cut carbon, right? We want to cut carbon emissions in Nigeria or greenhouse gases emissions in Nigeria. But we do not know how much we want to cut. You know, if you want to cut carbon emissions, you should already know how to measure carbon emissions from transportation, from industrialization, from even dirty cooking with kerosene, firewood, and all that. If you're not able to put a figure to that, then I don't know what you're cutting. So it's impossible to cut emissions in Nigeria if we do not invest in research and development. For human capital development, like you bring in young people that are already in this field, you empower them with knowledge. They can go study a course in a country that is already advanced in such thinking. Then they can also come up on their own with local solutions. Why do I talk about local solutions? Okay, if you want to cut carbon emissions, you measure first. Okay, this is how much emissions we are emitting between 2018 to 2019 from the transportation sector, for instance. And then these experts that you have empowered with information, they sit down and they say, okay, how do we make sure that in our country we are cutting these emissions? What are the solutions? That is very important. Now, are we investing in R&D? Even if we are doing that, we need to stay committed to it. And we also need to come up with solutions that are reflective of our own realities. You cannot go to the UK or to the US and pick a policy over there and say you want to implement the same policy here.
I like that.
Now, the World Economic Forum, I think it was 2 years ago, they said the energy transition does not have to be a one-size-fits-all thing. What applies in the UK will not apply to Botswana. It will not apply to Nigeria. So if you're coming up with solutions for carbon emissions, you need to come up with solutions that are reflective politically, economically, policy-wise. You need to come up with those solutions that are reflective of that particular country.
Interesting. We're short of time, but I was just about to ask you about the implementation of the 2015 National Renewable Energy Action Plan, which was year 2015 to year 2030. I'm not sure if we made much progress on that. But let's leave that for another time. Thank you so much. We appreciate your comments. Omono Okonkwo, natural gas analyst and journalist in our Abuja studios.